we are a little bit under 1 month away from day one of the 2026 NFL draft. We're getting so close, folks. It's been a fun draft cycle so far. Pro Day starting to really ramp up right now, and a lot of that speculation and talks and late risers really happening right now. It's been interesting. Some interesting takes on TV recently, especially with Ty Simpson involved, the whole quarterback thing, Dan Orlovsky, all of that. And, Ty Simpson, I don't think is the QB1 in this class. Obviously, I believe it's Fernando Mendoza, but I do think there's a world where Ty Simpson jumps up teams' boards and he gets drafted in the first round. But without further ado, before we hop into it, I just want to mention, again, a lot of the people that watch my videos are not subscribed to the channel. If you come back to my videos constantly, or this is your first one, you enjoy it, I'd appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button. And now, let's hop into it with pick number one, which is the Las Vegas Raiders, of course. And they're going to go get Fernando Mendoza. Now, this speculation and this talk around Mendoza, like he's not truly deserving of the first overall selection. I think yes and no. I understand where they're coming from. It's maybe not the best QB1 prospect in recent years. That 2 seasons ago, you had Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Drake May, Bo Nix, all these guys. Would Mendoza be QB1 in that? No. Last year, would he be QB1 with the year he had this year? Possibly. But I believe everything he did at Indiana this last season was truly deserving for him to jump up to pick one. And yeah, the Raiders might be in a spot where it's, we just need a quarterback. And so maybe you don't wait for maybe one of those better QB classes and you got the best quarterback right now. I don't really mind Fernando Mendoza being a first overall selection. Everybody knows he's the first overall pick. Everybody says Fernando's a Raider. And I believe that the talk about how he isn't deserving of a number one selection just because it's a weak QB class, I think is not fair to Mendoza, and I think it's illegitimate because he is definitely worth that first overall pick. Now, the New York Jets at 2, we're going to keep it the same way. Again, it's going to be Arvell Reese. Arvell Reese really just is what GMs want. And GMs want big, athletic players. And, the Pro Day videos of Arvell Reese, somebody comparing it to Ruben Bain. Don't get me wrong. I've been saying Ruben Bain is this legit guy. These three guys are all going to be really good. Bain, Reese, and Bailey. Those three guys are all going to be incredible players in the NFL if they can get to that full potential, of course. But right now, Arvell Reese is the most GM, favorite, in my opinion. Ruben Bain would be my favorite if I was a general manager. I don't care about how his arms are, but I love Arvell Reese. I love Ruben Bain. I love David Bailey. I love Ruben Bain. But Arvell Reese is probably going to be the first one picked to New York. I see it either being him or David Bailey, but Arvell Reese at pick 2. Pick 3 to the Cardinals. We're going to go Francis Mauigoa. Mauigoa is going to help the Cardinals the most out of anything right now. They could go so many directions. Kyler Murray not there. They're going to go with Jacoby Brissett. They could go with even a Sonny Styles as high as 3. I don't think that would happen, but they need a tackle. They need defensive line, so you could see them go with an edge rusher. You could see them go Jeremiah Love if they think they need to move on from their running back core, which I don't think is really that necessary. But I'm going to go Mauigoa. He can play the guard. He can play tackle. He is just nasty on that offensive line. And that's what the Cardinals need. They need to improve that line. Because next year, you're likely going to be in the same spot. You're going to be picking a Dante Moore, a Sam Levitt. Maybe he goes up the board, Sam Levitt, an Arch Manning, So you need to protect whoever you get next year. Or maybe you draft a guy later in this year's draft, which I don't know how to feel about that. But Francis Mauigoa at 3. is probably the best pick here for Arizona. Pick 4 to the Titans. Edge rusher is it's really hard to pass up on because, you traded away T'Vondre Sweat and you got yourself an edge rusher already in Jermaine Johnson. You have Jeffrey Simmons in the interior. You get another edge rusher like David Bailey or Ruben Bain. That makes that D-line really scary. And my thing with the Titans is they are another team that could go a lot of ways. You could even draft a Fano at 4 and put him at guard, and I wouldn't be too angry about it. You could go a Sonny Style. You could go a lot of ways. You could go a wide receiver, even though you just signed a guy in Wan'Dale Robinson. But we're going to go with Jeremiah Love. And so my thing with this is I think the Titans are in a spot where they need to get a playmaker alongside Cam Ward. They did just do their best to acquire playmakers in free agency. I think Jeremiah Love, though, is what they are missing in the playmaker department still. He is a home run hitter when it comes to any run. He can burst a 4-yard gain off to a 70-yard touchdown, and he just has breakaway speed. He is going to be that guy that's going to have the upside of every play in the back of a defensive player's mind. They're going to be thinking about, hey, this guy can break this one off for a touchdown at any second. And he's going to be doing that as a rookie, in my opinion. So Jeremiah Love to the Titans would be my pick. Now the New York Giants at 5. There was some video of it today. I saw the other day. Sonny Styles talking to Mr. John Harbaugh. I think Sonny Styles would be a good pick. They had to cut Bobby Okereke, who had been a team captain. They had to cut him because they didn't have that much money. He was going to save about $8 to $9 million in cap, I think it is. So I think it was necessary to cut the Bobby Okereke, but now you have pick 5 and you have an absolute athlete like Sonny Styles available. And so you pick Sonny Styles here at pick 5 to help really reinforce the defense. And, you drafted Abdul Carter, hopefully to have a breakout second season. That this defense could be real nasty. Now, pick number 6 to the Cleveland Browns. The Browns, 2 things. Wide receiver, tackle. It's always been that. We're going to go with wide receiver. Carnell Tate's on the board. We're going to draft Carnell Tate. They could use a playmaker out there. I think tackle's the best play for the Browns here, but a guy like Carnell Tate, you can't let that type of talent pass you, especially when you have such a big gap at the wide receiver position like the Cleveland Browns do. And so 2 Ohio State players go back-to-back here as 2 great playmakers on both sides of the ball. Will go back-to-back as well. Carnell Tate, we'll see if Shedeur Sanders has it in him. We'll see if it's Deshaun Watson at quarterback this year. Carnell Tate is going to help produce and help those numbers look better for whoever is under center in Cleveland. Now, the Washington Commanders at pick 7. I think there's only one way to go here if you're Washington now. Your wide receiver maybe is gone in Carnell Tate. I think that's the only top 10 wide receiver now, not in talent. I think that Mekhi Lemon and Jordan Tyson are great wide receivers. Tyson's injury history just concerns me, and Lemon's size really starting to concern me. You could go running back, but guess what? Jeremiah Love's not here. There's no running back worth taking this high, of course. I mean, Jadarian Price, who in my opinion is definitely the RB2, isn't going to be a first-round pick. He could be a second. I expect him to be a late second, early third, but you're going to have to go edge rusher. You need a defensive lineman. You need something there. And then you look and you say, is it between Ruben Bain or is it between David Bailey? And still, again, I just feel like GMs really like the players like David Bailey, the explosiveness from these guys. Ruben Bain's ridiculous. I don't know why people see what he does on film and say, well, he has small arms, he has small measurements, he has weird measurements, blah, blah, blah. He is unbelievable. Unbelievable. It's hard for me to even pick on this one. I have to go Ruben Bain here. I wouldn't be surprised if it's David Bailey at pick 7, but I'm going to go Ruben Bain because I really do think this guy is going to be my favorite of the three and the best of the three. He's produced in college. I mean, David Bailey has as well, but his bend is already at an all-pro level for an edge rusher. You see these all-pro edge rushers and the way they can bend around the tackle. Ruben Bain's doing that too. It felt like every time I watched a Miami football game, 4 was in the backfield. And 4 was causing damage for Miami. And so that's why Washington takes this pick. And that's why they go with Ruben Bain Jr. Now, pick 8 to the New Orleans Saints. 2 ways here. I think there's been more traction, honestly, from what I've been seeing, from what I've been hearing. There has been more traction between more traction, and has really been more of a talk about Mansour Lane being a cornerback in New Orleans, staying in this state of Louisiana. From what I'm hearing, the Saints are really big fans of Mansour Lane. They talked to him at his pro day. He put up a great pro day as well, let me say. And he has such great film out there. He is so smart on the field. He's going to limit his mistakes. He's going to be a very disciplined player. And as much as the Saints really don't need corner as much as maybe an edge rusher, a wide receiver, something like that, Mansour Lane is pro ready. I truly believe Mansour Lane is pro ready, and he is instantly the best corner on that team. I am a big fan of Kool-Aid McKinstry. I think he had a good jump from 1 to 2 in the years. Obviously, he had a bigger role this year, losing Paulson Adebo, and then obviously Marshawn Lattimore getting traded coming into this last season. And then now they don't have Alontae Taylor. And that is concerning to me, to say the least. I like Quincy Riley as a rookie last season. I think the Saints have a very, maybe it's because I'm a Saints fan, I think the Saints have a very under-the-radar team brewing up right now. You've got your QB in Tyler Shuck. You've got your guy in Chris Olave. Obviously, if a wide receivers here, I think that's the way they go with a Carnell Tate. Maybe even a Mekhi Lemon. I just don't see it at 8. And then you look at the defense. They could use another edge rusher. You still have Carl Granderson. You still have Chase Young. Brian Bresee, still looking to see him kind of break into that next step. Cam Jordan still a free agent, but Kool-Aid McKinstry as your CB1. Brandon Staley, who I really do like as a defensive coordinator. I know people don't like him as a head coach. I'm a big fan of him as a DC. He really was able to do some pretty good stuff with that defense last year. And you give him a playmaker like Mansour Lane, they're going to make that defense even better. So I'm going to go Mansour Lane. I know I've gone him to Kansas City a couple times, but I think from what I am hearing, the Saints could definitely have Mansour Lane as a heavy-weighted option in their pick at 8 if he's available. Now, pick 9 to the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't think it's even a question. David Bailey at pick 9. He produces. He's athletic. He has an untapped potential, unlimited upside. He's everything you want as an NFL GM. And him and the other two guys, Arvell Reese and Ruben Bain, all of these top edge rushers have everything, minus Ruben Bain, the measurements, that GMs love. And so you can't go wrong with any of them. And so the Chiefs, who desperately need some sort of attack or pass rush attack, some sort of extra playmaker on that line, they get one in David Bailey. Now the Bengals at pick 10. It's been the most boring pick. Caleb Downs. We switched it up last time, but we're going right back to it. Downs is just such an incredible prospect. The fact that he's going to go 10th is just crazy to me. He does have the knee problem and everything. I'm not too worried about it. He's played how well at Ohio State and Alabama in his college career. And he has really shown that he is worth being, honestly, even a top 5 pick. I think there's a world where the Giants pick him at 5. But Caleb Downs at 10 to the Cincinnati Bengals. I have been saying screaming at the top of my lungs since last year, the Cincinnati Bengals need to go get themselves a safety. I wanted them to get Malachi Starks. I wanted them to get a Nick Emmanwori. They didn't get either of them. Guess what? You got Caleb Downs, who is arguably one of the best and most hyped safety prospects we've seen in a long time. Now pick 11 to the Miami Dolphins. Now the Miami Dolphins, I know we haven't made the video since, they traded Jalen Waddle to the Denver Broncos. So they've got pick 11 and pick 30 now. Getting a first-round pick for Waddle was the best thing you could have done. Jalen Waddle will be missed in Miami. They're definitely going to have to heavily consider a guy like Mekhi Lemon at pick 11 here. And you could also heavily consider a guy like Spencer Fano. You did just send Malik Willis an absolute bag. He is now your quarterback. And now he walks onto that team, and who is his number one pass catcher? I don't know, Malik Washington? It's Devon Achane, if we're being honest. But Malik Washington, maybe? And with that, I look at it and I say this team desperately needs to go wide receiver. I like Spencer Fano a lot for this team. I think that him at guard for Miami would be beneficial. But the lack of a wide receiver now without Jalen Waddle is so... It's a glaring issue, and that's where Mekhi Lemon at 11 comes in. Pick 12 to the Dallas Cowboys now. Dallas needs to go secondary. I don't care who it is at pick 12. They need to 100% go with a player in the secondary. And in this case, it's going to be Dylan Thieneman. We dropped him a little bit in our last mock draft, and just really looking at it again, I just think he can potentially be such a versatile weapon for a team. He'll be very versatile for a team. And so a team like the Dallas Cowboys, who really all they need to do is work on their defense, you find a guy like Dylan Thieneman for you, that's a good start. That's a good start. They will definitely double dip on the defensive side of the ball in their first round if they don't trade a pick or anything, which I don't see it happening. But Dylan Thieneman, good safety from Oregon, you know. Good player back at Purdue. There's a reason he went from Purdue to Oregon. So he'll go pick 12 here to the Dallas Cowboys to start off the rebuilding of that defensive back room. Now the Rams at 13. It was either Mekhi Lemon or bust at wide receiver. You go Spencer Fano here. You play him at tackle. I think maybe, just maybe, if you really want a true tackle, you go Monroe Freeling. But Fano, he's one of the best tackle prospects in this class for a reason, and he's one of the best offensive linemen in this class for a reason because he can play the tackle so well. He can play the guard so well. I do see the small chance that if he is to play on a team that could use him at guard, he will 100% play at guard. But in this case, I think he stays at tackle, Havenstein retiring. So he stays at tackle. And they really help protect Stafford, especially in what could be his last year. Now, pick 14 to the Baltimore Ravens. Ravens isn't even a question, really. It's Venga Ioane. So you need interior line. That is your number one priority as the Baltimore Ravens at all times, is keeping Lamar Jackson safe. Boom. You got Venga Ioane. So, not going to talk about it much. We've talked about it a lot because this has been our pick a lot of times. Venga Ioane is mean, nasty. He's a good guard. You don't see very many guards being picked that high, true guards being picked that high. Venga Ioane is being picked this high for a reason. 15 to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We're going to go with Akeem Mesidor. News of, what's his name, Levante David, retiring, right? No longer playing football. Linebacker is an issue now. But edge rusher has also been an issue. And so Akeem Mesidor stays in the state of Florida, and he will wreak havoc on the NFC South. He's just like Rueben Bain. I like Rueben Bain a lot more, to be honest. A lot more. No offense to Akeem Mesidor, but a lot more. Akeem Mesidor put up better stats. He put up 13 sacks this year. Let me double check that. 13 sacks this year, 4 hits, 50 hurries. He put up great numbers at Miami. And there's a reason he's still a top half first round guy. Even though I like Rueben Bain a lot, and I will say the two teammates are definitely one on top of the food chain. I think Akeem Mesidor, not Vega Ioane. Akeem Mesidor is the first guy up on that next tier, because you've got your three. You got your Arvell Reese, you've got your Rueben Bain, and your David Bailey at that S tier. You've got your Akeem Mesidor at A tier. And a team like Tampa Bay who could really use it, they're going to go ahead and jump on it. Akeem Mesidor to Tampa. Now, pick 16 to the New York Jets. Really could go a couple of things here. That team's just so bad. But we're going to do something we haven't done yet. What did we talk about at the beginning of the video? The speculation, Ty Simpson, QB1, the Jets maybe getting a little worried about that quarterback position. Just traded Justin Fields. They opened up that spot. They opened it up. And who else to open it up for but Ty Simpson? If Dan Orlovsky is right about what he's saying, and NFL GMs do like Ty Simpson, which I think that I've already really heard that. But if there really is a bunch of GMs saying he's QB1, I don't see him falling out of the first round. And so he is here at 16 to the Jets. The Jets kind of in a desperation mode, in my opinion, at the quarterback position. And so they jump on Ty Simpson. They got Arvell Reese with the second overall pick. You get Ty Simpson at 16, just so teams like maybe Pittsburgh or the Rams trade back up or something. So a team that needs a quarterback doesn't pick him. The Rams could always pick him at 13. I don't think that's happening, though. But Ty Simpson, as I said in my first mock draft, has the pro tools. He was good under pressure for a lot of this part of the season, and that's what I really like out of an NFL quarterback. But towards the end of the year, he seemed to struggle at times under pressure. And that was what kind of worried me about him. That's what dropped him down my board. That's what dropped him down a lot of people's boards. He almost had the Jalen Milroe experience where he kind of, towards the end of the year, all the stuff that we were so excited about with him started to not be stuff we were excited about. And so I think he still has what it takes. He has the tools. And so with that, he jumps into the first round. And the Jets pick him at 16. Now, the Detroit Lions at 17, you absolutely are going to pick Monroe Freeling here if you need it. You need an offensive lineman. You just need to fix that. That's your one spot on your offense you really need to worry about. You could go D-line here. If you were to go D-line, I think you could go maybe a Cassius Howell. That's probably my favorite pick. But with that being said, Monroe Freeling is going to be my pick at 17. He's the best true tackle. We've said it multiple times. He's the best true tackle in this draft. I like his upside. And so the Lions get themselves a good pass blocker. Now, the Minnesota Vikings at pick 18 are probably jumping for joy that this guy's still available. Jermod McCoy. I think that secondary is what needs improvement on in Minnesota. Brian Flores is an amazing defensive play caller. He loves to blitz. He needs a guy that's going to be able to be heavily relied on in zone coverage when they blitz. And I think Jermod McCoy will do just that for him. It looked really good in zone in college back in 2024. And so he goes here at pick 18. Pick 19 to the Panthers. I think they're also jumping for joy that Kenyon Sadiq's available. I like Jatavion Sanders a lot. I was pretty high on him in that draft class, 2 seasons ago. But the injuries have been an issue. And so you want another guy for Bryce Young. You could go wide receiver, of course, but why not go get yourself Kenyon Sadiq and really just give yourself that pass catcher that's going to be a mismatch. It's going to be a matchup nightmare for whoever lines up with him because he's a tight end. He's going to be too fast for linebackers. He's going to be too big for safeties and corners. That is going to make that Panthers team a little bit more scarier. And that's going to make that team be more efficient on offense. It all starts with Bryce Young, of course, but having that option is going to make it a little bit more efficient. So Kenyon Sadiq, pick 19. Now pick 20 to the Cowboys. I said we're double dipping on defense. And double dipping on defense, we are going to do CJ Allen. They 100% need to go linebacker at pick 20. That's all I want to see the Dallas Cowboys do, especially if it's CJ Allen. If it's not CJ Allen, I want them to 100% go with Peter Woods. That's it. That's all I'm going to say. CJ Allen, great pick for Dallas here. They need some sort of field general on that second line. You know, you got your D-line, linebackers, safeties, the 3 lines. But CJ Allen will be able to step into that role to be their guy at the linebacking room. Pittsburgh Steelers. At pick 21, could go different ways. We've gone tackle a couple times. We've gone safety, I think, last time with Dylan Thieneman. So in this situation, I say we go, even though they just traded for Michael Pittman, they go Jordan Tyson. I think Jordan Tyson's too good of a wide receiver to pass up this at this point. I don't know if DK Metcalf is really the guy you want to keep for long term. I like Michael Pittman, honestly, more than DK Metcalf. Jordan Tyson, slot, you put him in the, I guess you could put him in the slot. You've got 2 really tall receivers with him. You throw Jordan Tyson in the slot, he will dominate. And that wide receiver room will be absolutely dangerous for whoever it is playing QB for the Steelers in the future. Whether it's Will Howard, they stick with him. If maybe they do draft Ty Simpson and they don't draft Jordan Tyson, but obviously that's not a possibility in this mock draft world. So Jordan Tyson makes that wide receiver room so scary. It's almost kind of the same logic and reasoning behind Mekhi Lemon to the Rams at 13. You just make that wide receiver room an absolute juggernaut. Pick 22 to the Los Angeles Chargers. The Chargers with no option at guard. They have the easiest pick here, and it's who my defense D-tackle one is. It's Peter Woods. Peter Woods said it best himself. I'm going to be the guy that I want to give offensive coordinators nightmares. He is going to cause a lot of problems his first year. He will. He's going to stuff up plays. He's going to cause havoc in the run, in the pass, and that's what the Chargers want. And so they're going to go get Peter Woods. You don't have Avenga Ioane like you would likely want. That's your ideal situation, of course, at 22. Maybe you go Jordan Tyson if he goes to 22. Put him in that wide receiver room. I think they just give Trey Harris a shot at wide receiver 3. So Peter Woods, pick 22 to the Chargers. I think it's the best case scenario. Now for the Philadelphia Eagles. I think edge rusher, they need more of a true edge. If they were to go there, they could go tackle. A Blake Miller, a Caden Proctor is definitely in play here. But we are going to go with what did Howie Roseman and the Eagles do in 2024? What did they do when they found themselves a guy and they said, hey, we don't care what conference you play in. If you're a dog, you're a dog. And guess who's an absolute dog? And it doesn't matter what conference he's in. And guess what team he's from. And guess what team the guy in 2024 was from. It's Toledo. Emmanuel McNeil-Warren is who I'm going to pick for Philadelphia. You get yourself a guy at the safety position after losing Reed Blankenship. You have a guy like Emmanuel McNeil-Warren who is not only has great physical ability, he also is just a great player. He's an athlete. He's going to be smart for you, a smart player for you. You put him with another fellow Toledo defensive back in Quinyon Mitchell. This team's defense, which the safety position has been a worry for a very slim amount of time, that worry goes away already. Pick 24 to the Cleveland Browns now. We went wide receiver last time, so it's going to be the quickest pick I've ever made. Blake Miller. They need an offensive lineman. They need an offensive lineman. I don't care what kind of improvements they've made to their offensive line this offseason, which they have. They definitely have. You need an offensive lineman. Blake Miller is there. You could go Caden Proctor if you want maybe the bigger stature. Caden Proctor's a giant. But I mean, Blake Miller's no small guy. He's still 6'6", 315 pounds. So Blake Miller stays in the color orange, just adds brown to it instead of purple, and he'll be a Cleveland Brown. Chicago Bears at pick 25. I like the safety for the Bears because they've lost a lot of their safeties. Byard to the Patriots. I need to double check. I can't think off the top of my head if Jaquan Brisker has signed with anybody. Kobe Bryant to the has joined their team, of course, though, which is a good addition. But I think you go with defensive line here if you're Chicago. And saying that, I think you're going to go Keldrick Falk. And here's my reasoning for Keldrick Falk in this situation. Falk is probably more of a defensive end than he is a true edge rusher. A guy that maybe is not going to line up in the 9 tech all the time. He's going to be in those 7s, those 6s, even pushing all the way to the 4s and just stuffing up the run game as well. That is the player Keldrick Falk will be in the NFL because of his size, because of his stature, the way that he is, his strength. He's going to be better as a defensive end, like those hybrid guys, than a true edge rusher. So the Bears go and pick him because they've got a guy like Montez Sweat who's fast off the line. He's going to be a pass rusher who's in the backfield almost every pass play. And now you got Keldrick Falk who can do a little bit of both. So pick 26 to the Buffalo Bills now. We're going to go wide receiver. I still think wide receiver is what they need to do, which is going to be Omar Cooper Jr. And so he's really jumped up boards in the past about month. And it's for a good reason. I mean, let's take a peek. He's a red zone target, 13 touchdowns this year. He's had a great yards per route run is what I was trying to talk about, his yards per route run. He's going to be able to run deeper routes and efficient deep routes. And he can score, as I just said. 13 touchdowns this year. He almost put up 1,000 yards, as I think you would probably put him at the wide receiver 2. Maybe even 3. I mean, that wide receiver room at Indiana was pretty nasty. Charlie Becker, Elijah Surratt, and Omar Cooper Jr. Obviously, Surratt, what is he, like maybe a 3rd-round pick? Yeah, right here. So, but Omar Cooper Jr., I think, has more of what the GMs want, more of the physicals, more of the stature. He's going to be good for whatever team you put him on. And putting him on Buffalo is unbelievable. You give him Josh Allen, that's awesome. I mean, he was playing with the guy the same size as Josh Allen, but now you actually have Josh Allen in Buffalo. So, pick 27 to the San Francisco 49ers. We're going to go Caden Proctor here. There was news that they were talking about maybe shipping out Trent Williams. He is old, very old. Regardless, if you keep him, if you trade him, Caden Proctor helps you long term. Trent Williams could retire next season. Caden Proctor slots right there. He's going to learn behind a great. He could play day one if you wanted to play him day one. Caden Proctor is a monster of a man who, if you can refine his skills, get him to maybe not use his hands as much, maybe not stand up as much, he will be a franchise left tackle, franchise right tackle for your team. Pick 28 to the Houston Texans now. We will go with Caden McDonald. And so, the reason I go defensive interior instead of maybe a tackle or guard, somebody who can play the offensive line, especially if trading Titus Howard, is again, I really like that Houston defense. You kind of think for the long term, again, at these late first, you usually see some teams kind of lean towards that those long term developing players that you want a 5th-year option on. Caden McDonald will be just that. I don't think he's really the biggest developing kind of guy. I think he's got tools already. But you throw him in the interior. I believe they just extended Danielle Hunter. You have Will Anderson, who you're going to have to pay a huge, huge check. So you're really not going to have enough money to go out and get yourself a good defensive tackle in the future, free agency wise. So Caden McDonald, you get another good rookie scale player on your defense. And you say, hey, we think we can contend now. They just went 12-5. We can contend now. We're going to do it now with making our defense historically good instead of just really, really good, really, really good. Pick 29 here to the Kansas City Chiefs. Man, oh my goodness. I really struggled here for a bit because there was so many things I wanted to do with the Kansas City pick. Now that we went with David Bailey at 9, Cassius Howell was out of the equation for me. But that has been something I've really thought if they get Mansour Lane at 9. But that gap at corner is just way too concerning. So you're going to go Avion Terrell. And I think you're really happy that Avion Terrell drops all the way to 29. He is an absolute dog. He might be a little small, but he doesn't play like he's small. He plays like he is bigger than you, and he's going to do his best to out-physical you. And, his footwork is one of my favorite. It's one of my favorite things to watch out of a lot of the corners is Avion Terrell's footwork. His technique is immaculate, and that's going to lead him to getting paid. So, Avion Terrell, pick 29 to the Chiefs. Now, pick 30 to the Dolphins. That's where maybe this gets a little in the air for this team. And so, I think I'm going to lean defensive back because you should really find a way to get that. The whole defensive back room seems like they left. So we'll go Colton Hood. I like Brandon Cisse. I like D'Angelo Pons. We're going to go Colton Hood, though. I think the Tennessee teammates both have a chance at going first round. Miami needs a corner. Colton Hood, a good player with good numbers athletically. That's really all I got to say. You got yourself your wide receiver at pick 11. There's a world where maybe at this pick you go interior, you get an Emmanuel Prignon, maybe a Caleb Lomu, throw him at guard, but we're going to go Colton Hood in this scenario. Pick 31 to the New England Patriots. We've been going, I think, edge a good amount of times. We're going to flip it this time. We're going to go to the offensive line, and we're going to go with Max Ihanachor, as how you say it. I looked it up. So, Ihanachor, if I butcher that, I'm so sorry. But Max Ihanachor is a guy that I've talked about, I think, 2 mock drafts ago, who I thought is a guy that could really jump into the first round, especially for a team like New England, who we saw the problems of that offensive line on Super Bowl Sunday for Super Bowl 60. And you got to protect Drake May, man. The way Drake May looked so rattled was just hard to watch. So you get a guy like Ihanachor, and you get this guy to be on the other side of Will Campbell. Maybe you explore Will Campbell being a guard. I hate to say it, and I don't think some people like that, but maybe you do. And you throw this guy at tackle. Regardless, your offensive line's already much better. So, Max Ihanachor at pick 31. 32 to the Seattle Seahawks. Man, Brandon Cisse, our bread and butter. What would I do without you? We're not going to do it, though, guys. We're going to go with Cassius Howell. I think the fact that he's available at 32 is ridiculous. Demarcus Lawrence, we don't know how much longer he'll be playing football. Maybe I remember hearing he's contemplating, talking about it, his future, unsure about it. But maybe I'm just behind a little bit. Maybe I'm too focused on it being opening day, happy opening day to all those baseball fans out there, but including me. My team went out and won today. But Cassius Howell plays at 110%. I love the way that he is going to be all out for you no matter what. Seattle could really like a guy like that for the future, especially make that defense younger and scarier, kind of like Houston. And you round off the first round with Cassius Howell. So that'll do it for this version of my mock drafts. And so let me know what you think about your favorite team's pick. Do you like the pick? Do you not like the pick? What do you want to see your team do? And then again, if you are at this end of the video, first off, I appreciate you for staying and watching the whole video. But if you enjoyed it, if this is your first, second, third, whatever video, and you keep coming back, if you like the content, please hit the subscribe button. I would really like it. Really appreciate it. And as always, we'll see you in the next one. Peace.